African National Congress launched its 9 discussion documents ahead of its 5th National Policy Conference. It'll be taking place in June. Last night, the Subcommittee on Legislature and Governance, or LNG, briefed the media about its recommendations and preparations leading up to June. I'm just going to wrap up the conversation about the discussion document with Obed Bapela, who's with me in studio now. So just finally, if we can just wrap this part up of the conversation, the 7 recommendations that came out of the weekend meeting, interaction, what are they?
Well, obviously there's one, which one is very topical, and we hope the opposition parties and everybody in South Africa, the South Africans, will have to discuss it, is the issue of the naturalized citizens.
Okay.
What we are saying, we do not want to deny them access to be elected as public representatives, but the issue of ascending to the highest office, be the presidency, be the premier, be the mayor, is what we're discussing. Yes. To say. Probably there we ought to come up with a mechanism and a policy that says, yes, you can be a representative, but you cannot ascend to the highest office. I hope this debate is open, fair, honest, and then everybody can look at it without being seen as discriminating those who are naturalized South Africans. But I don't think that at any point that I can be a president in China. I don't think that it will be allowed. I can be a public representative maybe, but not ascend to the highest office. And I think South Africa ought to really look at its sovereignty, that South Africans must be the ones that are there. But there are quite a number of other policy issues, that the number of the provinces in South Africa, do we still need 9 provinces? The policy document had said that 4. We have not yet achieved that particular goal as was resolved in the previous conferences, and we are still of the view that indeed we need to reduce the number of provinces. But KwaZulu-Natal, the eThekwini region, have already pronounced that we must get rid of all provinces. And let's hear the debate, obviously, on the floor of the policy conference. But also I'm going to this policy conference with a request that before the policy starts, let's have a consultative conference. We might also be looking at a 2 days set aside just to really look at the state of organization currently, and then how we are going to be organizing and ensuring that the ANC goes back to its glory days and then unite itself as an organization, irrespective of the number of the candidates that are there, but we should not tear apart the organization called the African National Congress. This is still the hope of the people, and whatever the contests that are there, we ought to unite and ensure therefore that the ANC triumphs. All
right, so on that note, you're leading me nicely into what's going to happen this week is the NEC meeting and the talk of uniting, which is something that at this point doesn't look like it is. The ANC doesn't look united. And this is, it's, I imagine, a worry for you going into this meeting, and many people expecting this to be a very fiery NEC meeting. How are you feeling ahead of it? And I mean, this is the first time that you are meeting since the reshuffle in March.
Yes, I think it's the first time that the NEC is meeting since the reshuffle. It is, because we meet every second month of the year. So we'll be looking at that particular issue, the impact of it, obviously openly discussing and then get to understand what happened. But secondly, we'll also be looking at preparation of the policy conference itself, because the next meeting of the NEC will then be very brief, really going into the policy conference itself, state of readiness, whether provinces are ready, branches are ready, discussions are taking place, the number of the delegates that are coming have been selected proper, and then whatever the complaints that are coming from branches have been resolved, so that there's no protest of branches going into the policy conference. Absolutely. To say why were we left out and so forth. So those issues will be looked at the NEC meeting also.
And also the issue of the state-run enterprises, because that's under big discussion, under big scrutiny as well. And I think with a lot of critics looking in and saying Brian Molefe going back into Escom is perhaps maybe the final straw in the presidency of Jacob Zuma. Would you agree? Is this a very big discussion and talking point going in?
Well, obviously there will be those who raise it and we are free to engage on any issues in the NEC. We are not afraid to engage even on difficult issues. But at the end of the meeting, we'll come up with a resolution that then points to the way forward, and everybody must then unite behind that particular resolution, irrespective of my individual view at the beginning of the meeting. And I think that is the culture that the ANC has always enjoyed, of differing, but at the end of the discussion, all uniting and standing behind whatever is the resolution. And obviously, the other matter that we'll be discussing is what is going to happen in Parliament soon, whether the vote is secret or it's not secret,
Yeah, that's
the
a big
ANC
discussion.
members obviously will then be getting a guidance from the NEC to say this is the way we are looking at the issue. Whether it's secret or is an open vote, the ANC must unite and be one on that particular issue.
I mean, if you look at that, that decision many are expecting could come out this week, that whether or not it is going to be a secret ballot or not. If it turns into a secret ballot, I mean, there's a lot of talk that there are many ANC MPs that are not happy with the president and that they will vote with the opposition. So then there's the other side of the coin that says, is it not better for the ANC to decide who is president and who is not, as opposed to opposition parties? So could there be a decision to remove the president this weekend?
Well, I don't think there will be such a discussion. Well, there will be a discussion, but I don't think there will be a decision that says, let's remove the president. We are looking at the strength of the ANC, that the president is the most popular individual in the organization today. If you then decide just to remove the president because of emotions,
is it just emotions at this point?
It's emotions, but also there are issues that people have raised. We are not ignoring those particular issues that people are raising, but as the African National Congress will determine what is it that works for the African National Congress and that will work for the people of South Africa. And will be able to justify and engage on that particular issue, as we have always been doing. But I don't think then we'll just be as emotional and just say, let the president go. I don't think that is the way to go for now.
It must be a very big worry that the opposition only need 59 ANC MPs to vote in favour for the president to have the no vote of confidence against him. That's a worry, especially in a party that is using the media to talk about the problems within the party, to talk about the president, to talk about, and of course it's that succession battle that's happening at the moment. So, you know, it's a worrying NEC conference, I imagine, going into it.
Well, obviously it's worrying if you hear stories of some NEC members going to be voting with the opposition. But we are calling on the consciousness of the individual ANC members that you were elected on the ticket of the African National Congress. So whatever are the issues that we have with the president or with any other individual in the ANC comes first. The unity of the organization comes first. So your consciousness will therefore guide you as we go into that vote, whether open or secret, whatever is the outcome. And we're appealing on that particular consciousness of each individual. The ANC matters will be resolved by the ANC in the ANC way.
Yeah.
But not, going into the agendas of those who are calling for the regime change and those that want to see the ANC collapsing.
All right, we leave it there for this morning. Obed Bapela, thank you for coming in. Thanks for talking to us here this morning. Obed is an ANC National Executive Coucil, NEC member. He also sits on the LNG subcommittee, talking to us about that 5th National Policy Conference that's coming up, and the talking document or the discussion document that was released and spoken about at a press conference last night. All right, let's take a break. When we return,